Hi, everybody. Great to be with you again. I had thought from the Gospels where Jesus said something in Mark chapter 4. Take heed what you hear. Take heed. Beware. Be careful about what you hear. And then over in Luke chapter 8, he said, take heed how you hear. I was meditating on that and began to realize that what's going on today, as we're in a great warfare for our nation, is this problem with what we're hearing. Because what we're hearing in many cases are lies and what we would call propaganda, if we're up on that particular term. What we're hearing. Hawker's Poor Man's Commentary, this is from a long time ago. An old Puritan said, even to those whose ears are spiritually open, still it's necessary to take heed what and how we hear. No doubt, because the Lord elsewhere cautioned his people against false Christs, false prophets, who speciously, if possible, would deceive even the very elect. I love that word, speciously. I looked it up, actually. I thought I knew what it meant. To be specious means it's something that which has the ring of truth or plausibility, but it's actually error. And this is what we have going on today. The Marxist socialists who are trying to revise our nation are using the things that sound good, but they're really not. They're specious, like Black Lives Matter. Who wouldn't agree? Black Lives Matter. I'm all for that. Social justice. Who isn't for social justice? I'm all for social justice. How about equity? Well, I believe in equity. And how about socialist? Well, I'm a social person, so I guess I'm a socialist. You know, this is what's wrong today, though. We're listening to lies and we're buying into things that sound good on the surface, but they're sinister in nature. And it comes from the press. Much of it comes from the mainstream media. And this is an old Marxist ploy. It goes back to Joseph Stalin, who said the press must grow day in and day out. The press must grow day in and day out. It is our Communist Party's sharpest and most powerful weapon. I believe that's happening today in America. The mainstream media, the press, is our enemy's sharpest weapon. Vladimir Lenin, a very evil man, said the press should not only be a collective propagandist and a collective agitator, but also a collective organizer of the masses. In other words, you're dealing with Marxist socialists when you see them controlling the press and the media. And this is what they do in Russia, China, Cuba, Venezuela. Any place there's a socialist nation, they always control the press. Lenin said we must write in a language which sows among the masses hate, revulsion, and scorn toward those who disagree with us. The greatest propagandist of all was one of the most evil men that ever lived. That was Joseph Goebbels, who was Adolf Hitler's minister of propaganda. He told us to think of the press as a great keyboard on which the government can play. In other words, the press to a socialist is a keyboard that they can play the tune that the socialist decides needs to be played. He said it is the absolute right of the state to supervise the formation of public opinion. You see, the modern mainstream media, I'm talking CNN, MSNBC, NPR, these are big outlets, but they're not trying to inform people of the facts. They're trying to shape opinion, form opinions. They're propagandizing people. And that's why you don't hear some of the news that is news reported. You see, what they do when they control the mainstream media, the press, radio, the TV, the newspapers, what happens is any news item that is negative, that shines them in a negative light, they just don't report it. They just don't report it. Goebbels said, not every item of news should be published. Rather, must those who control news policies endeavor to make every item of news serve a certain purpose. And this is what they did. This is what we're hearing. That's why Jesus said, take heed what you hear, especially in an hour like we live in. God help us to be wiser than we've been. Hey, Ray McCollum here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it was a blessing to you. Go ahead and subscribe now. There's a lot more where that came from.